All right, today we're jumping into a truly classic guide for anyone who wants to perform at their best. It's called The Inner Game of Tennis by W. Timothy Galway, and we're using a fantastic summary from learned.org to break it down. And trust me, this is about way more than just tennis. It's about overcoming those mental roadblocks that hold us back in, well, just about everything.
I mean, you know the feeling, right? You're standing up to give a big presentation, or you're about to take a crucial shot, and bam, your mind just goes into overdrive. Your palms get sweaty, you start second-guessing everything, and you just choke. You know you have the skill, but somehow you just manage to get in your own way. And here is Galway's big idea. He says that for everything we do, there's an outer game. That's the one we play against someone else for a trophy or a promotion. But the much, much more important game is the inner game. That's the one you play inside your own head against things like nervousness, lapses in focus, and that nagging self-doubt. Okay, so let's get into the core of this, because Galway's breakthrough was figuring out who the players are in this inner game. Once you meet these two selves, honestly, everything starts to make a lot more sense. So inside all of us, there's self-one. You can think of this as the teller. It's your conscious ego, that little voice in your head that never shuts up, giving instructions. Keep your eye on the ball, bend your knees. Oh no, don't mess this up. And then you have self-two, the doer. This is your body, your instincts, your unconscious mind. It just knows how to do things naturally. The whole problem is that self-one, the talker, doesn't trust self-two, the doer, and its constant chatter just gets in the way. Does that voice sound familiar? Yeah, that is self-one, loud and clear. It's that nagging, judgmental inner critic that just loves to beat you up after every little mistake. And according to Galway, that voice is the single biggest obstacle to you performing at your best. And this explains a huge paradox, doesn't it? When self-one starts screaming, try harder, what actually happens in your body? You tense up, you grip the racket too hard, you clench your jaw. All that forced effort creates physical tension that makes it impossible for self-two to act with that fluid, natural grace it's capable of. So obviously, the key is to quiet that inner critic. But here's the catch. You can't just tell it to shut up. That's just more noise from self-one. The real solution is way more clever and honestly more powerful. The path to getting there starts by just letting go of judgment. You have to stop labeling every single thing you do as either good or bad. A serve that goes into the net isn't a bad shot that says something about you as a person. It's just an event. It's information that self-two can use to make an adjustment, but only if self-one stops freaking out about it. There's a name for this practice: non-judgmental awareness. The book uses a perfect analogy. Imagine you're growing a rose. You wouldn't yell at the seed for not having roots, right? Of course not. You just calmly observe what it needs, maybe some more sun, a little water, and you'd provide it. It's the exact same with your own performance. When you just calmly observe what's happening, your body, yourself too, will automatically start making the right corrections. Okay, so silencing the critic is step one. Step two is learning how to actually trust what's left behind. The incredible, natural ability of self-two. This really is the mantra you have to remember. Instead of trying to force a perfect result with a bunch of commands, you have to talk to self-two in its own language, which is images and feelings. You picture the perfect outcome. You remember the feeling of a perfect swing. And then you just get out of the way. You let self-two do its job. Now, the best way to get self-one to be quiet is to give it a simple job to do. So instead of just telling yourself to watch the ball, you tell self-one to focus only on the seams of the ball as it spins. Or instead of worrying about your swing, you tell it to just listen for the sound of a solid hit. These simple little tasks are just enough to occupy your conscious mind, and that frees up self-two to perform beautifully. Let's really zero in on one of the most effective drills in the book. It's called the bounce hit drill, and it's an absolute game changer for just locking your mind into the present moment. The instructions could not be simpler. As you're playing, you just say bounce out loud the exact moment the ball hits the court, and you say hit the exact moment it makes contact with the racket. That's the entire job. You're not trying to hit well, you're just trying to time your words perfectly. The magic is that this one tiny task completely absorbs self-one. So what do you think happens when that critical part of your brain is totally focused on the rhythm of bounce, hit, bounce, hit? It literally doesn't have the mental bandwidth to criticize your form or worry about the score. Your focus gets razor sharp, and self-two is finally free to just play the game. Galway even has a brilliant method for changing bad habits. Instead of fighting an old habit, which, let's be honest, just makes you focus on it more, you just create a new one. First, just observe the habit without judgment. Then, you clearly picture the new way you want to do things. After that, you just let it happen. Trust self too. And finally, you just calmly watch the results, letting that new, better groove form naturally. And this is really where these ideas blow up way beyond a tennis court. The principles of the inner game aren't really about sports at all. They're about completely redefining how we relate to success, to failure, and to competition itself. This is such a powerful way to reframe things. Your opponent isn't your enemy. They're actually a partner who's cooperating with you. By trying their absolute hardest to beat you, they are giving you the amazing gift of a challenge that forces you to discover your own highest potential.
And that, right there, is the ultimate point. The number on the scoreboard is temporary, but the experience of overcoming your own self-doubt, of mastering your own focus, of giving your absolute best effort, that is true victory. Winning the inner game means your satisfaction comes from conquering yourself, not from beating someone else.
So the question to leave you with is this. In your career, in your hobbies, in your relationships, what's the inner game that you're playing right now, and how can you start mastering it today? To dig into more transformative ideas just like this one, you should definitely check out the full summary and all the others over at learnerd.org.